The teacher asked the student, "How will you feel if you are hit by an arrow?" The student replied, "It will hurt a lot and it will be very painful." The teacher then asked, "And how will you feel if you are hit by a second arrow in the same spot?" The student replied, "It will be much more painful than the first one." The teacher said, "Then why do you shoot the second arrow?" The student looked confused and didn't understand what the teacher meant. The teacher smiled and explained, "Life will always throw the first arrow, and it's not in our control. But the second arrow is always in our control. Anytime we go through a painful situation, two arrows fly our way. The first arrow is the situation itself, and the second arrow is our response to the situation. The second arrow is always shot by us, which is suffering. We need to understand that suffering is optional. We can avoid suffering by not shooting the second arrow and responding wisely and positively to whatever situation we face. As much as we try, we can't avoid painful situations happening in our lives. Getting a flat tire, the pandemic, the loss of loved ones, losing your job, going through a difficult breakup. But at the end of the day, it's not what happens to us, it's how we react to what happens to us. Ways that we shoot ourselves with the second arrow could include ruminating over the past, raging on people, shutting down, shaming yourself, or making decisions you'll end up regretting later. For me, the bouts of depression I sometimes go through is my first arrow. When I'm in a depressed state, nothing matters at the moment. Even the slightest things irritate me, and the most basic actions such as getting out of bed and eating feel like insurmountable mountains to climb. Negative thoughts randomly come flooding into my head. I think the big difference that I'm proud of in my personal growth is not shooting myself with a second arrow. Instead of compounding the problem by beating myself up for not being as productive or enthusiastic as I want to be, I practice showing myself the same patience and compassion that I show others. By avoiding identifying myself as a depressed person, I treat my depressive episodes merely as a storm passing by, as opposed to a permanent reflection of my identity. By not shooting myself with a second arrow, I'm able to be compassionate with myself during my depressed state, and grateful for the times where I'm in a joyful state. Life will always throw you some painful situations, but instead of reacting, ask yourself first, do I really need to shoot that second arrow? Peace.